Most of my viewers know that my main interest is wargaming and terrain. This comes in all of its associated scales, such as 28mm and 1/100. However, sometimes, like anyone else, I need to seek out inspiration by looking at other miniature builds for ideas. Or maybe you're just a fan of the art form of building a miniature, so you want to check out a cool exhibit while on vacation. Well, look no further than Little Canada in downtown Toronto. It's both a source of inspiration for model builders and a terrific venue to tour when visiting the area. Now, it's no secret, I eat, breathe, and sleep the art of building a miniature. One of the primary missions of Miniature Landscape Hobbies is to blur the lines between the artistic styles in the different disciplines of model building. By combining the different approaches together, we can innovate and push our art form forward. So, when my son Hastings and I were invited to tour Little Canada, I jumped at the chance. That being said, I figured I was in for a great experience, but not something that would motivate me to get building. I'm pleased to say that I was mistaken. Little Canada was fun, it was impressive, and most importantly, I saw some new techniques there that have compelled me to be a better builder. In this video, I want to take you through a quick tour of this outstanding facility. This is of course just a brief overview. Nothing I can show you here will replace a first-hand visit to Little Canada, so please check it out, and if I were you, I would follow up by planning a visit as soon as possible. One thing to make note of is that it's early May 2022, and at this time, Little Canada is still under construction. There are several regions that they want to detail that have not yet been built. Despite this, you can actually go into the unfinished area representing the north and see the future plans, which is pretty interesting. Don't let this deter you though, as there is still plenty to see. Walking into the first exhibit, you come to Niagara Falls. This room is almost as awe-inspiring as the real thing. Well, really, for a miniature builder like me, maybe even more inspiring than the real thing. All of the expected features are here, including the Maid of the Mist and the many tourist attractions. All are lit with real traffic and lighting changes to suggest the time of day. Most interesting, of course, is the falls themselves. And all I can say is, wow. Video features have been combined with practical model effects to make a unique experience for the viewer. Now, I have over 30 years experience building in miniature, and some of this is even in a professional capacity, but I have never seen anything like this. The images I have here honestly do not do this room justice. You need to see it firsthand to grasp the scale and immersive nature of this spread. Picking my jaw up off the floor, I went on to the next section, Toronto. Here we are greeted by some innovation in model building. The evidence that Little Canada's builders are willing to push the limits of the art form is plain to see in this exhibit. The availability of 3D printing is quickly changing the face of the hobby. Scratch builds are quickly becoming hybrids with 3D printed elements combined with more traditional model techniques. Here they've gone even further, tackling the complex subject of Old Toronto City Hall with a complete 3D printed building. Not only is this ridiculously ambitious, but also unbelievably effective. The result cannot be described as anything other than beautiful. The rest of the Toronto exhibit is very impressive too. All of the regular landmarks are present, and you can see the sights such as the CN Tower and the Rogers Centre. You can get a pretty good look at life in a Canadian big city. A small Canadian big city? A miniature big city? You get the point. Interestingly, most of the real landmarks are within walking distance of Little Canada itself, so you could see them in person and then see them rendered in miniature, again all in the same day. Like in the real world, the Toronto cityscape now changes to that of the Golden Horseshoe. This is largely Canada's industrial heartland and transportation hub. This is all demonstrated with some massive models of the ironworks in Hamilton and plenty of rail, water, and road transit. Industrial areas and transportation systems usually make popular topics for model spreads, and here you can gather lots of ideas for your own work, from boats to trains. You can see it all in this spread. At this point, I encountered something I was not expecting. The Littleization Machine.
All right, let's go get miniaturized.
This is a full body scanner that you can use to render a 3D printed version of you. You can purchase the result as a model in any number of scales. Pretty neat. Moving on brings you to the Ottawa display. Here you get a pretty extensive look at Canada's capital city, including some stunning renderings of the Parliament buildings. These come complete with a festival which is underway. Of particular interest in this spread is the truly impressive model of Ottawa's iconic Chateau Laurier. This hotel is stunning in either real life or HO scale, but it's the interior of the model that's really fascinating. The various builders from Little Canada have all done separate room designs. Some are themed on movies, some are just whimsical, and you can even see rooms inspired by games like Minecraft and Among Us. It's worth the time to stop and study each room individually, as they show off a huge variety of techniques and imagination. Now the tour comes to Quebec. This region in Canada is known for its French heritage and winter activities. For this reason, and is only fitting for a Canadian display, the spread switches to a snowy, wintry theme. You get a good look at some ski hills here. This section was of particular interest to me. You see, after 3 decades of building a miniature, I have yet to tackle a winter scene. The idea of using snow just seems to intimidate me. It's not that I don't have the materials. Here is my snow flock. It's just that when I go to start the subject, I find it difficult, and I chicken out. As a result, my container of snow flock is gathering dust. Looking at the spread, though, I think I have the inspiration to finally get over my fears. Like a lot of miniature artists, Little Canada have put some interesting features and fun little story elements hidden in the content. If you look carefully, you can see a haunted tree, among other things. The wilderness gives away to Quebec City. There are some unique traffic effects, more on this later, and the landmarks are all here, such as the Chateau Frontenac and Old Quebec City's Citadel. This part of Canada, of course, is steeped in history, and all of the models convey this with the same attention as in other spreads. I think I've already said this a couple times, but I was deeply impressed. Quebec City is the last spread to see at the moment, but there's still more. Next is the mission control. Here Hastings and I discussed upcoming plans with the staff and got a demonstration of how the vehicles work. There's a ton of programming involved to make the cars interact with each other and even go about daily duties such as stopping for fuel or avoiding emergency vehicles. It was fascinating, and it enhanced the realism quite a bit. Then comes the miniature workshop. Now, I'm quite proud of my own studio, but wow, at Little Canada there's literally nothing that can't be built. They have it all. There are several 3D printers, laser cutters, and what looks like an unlimited variety of more traditional materials, such as flocks and tree armatures. You can go to the maker window and talk to the builders. I had a brief conversation that was quite informative with one of the staff. Most of my viewers will know that sculpting in foam is likely my favorite technique, and I've been using it for decades. However, in my discussion, I learned of a few new tips and products that I hadn't used before. When it comes to building with foam, I thought I already knew it all. But as it turns out, I don't. Which is awesome. Creating new artistic frontiers is of course what our hobby is about. That brought the tour to an end. Now, most of my viewers are experienced builders. I know I have regular viewers ranging from sci-fi wargamers to dollhouse collectors, and I think if you're a miniature enthusiast, a trip to Little Canada is pretty much mandatory. It'll keep your inspiration going and provide a wealth of information on new techniques. My son Hastings, who did a significant portion of the filming in this video, however, is not a miniaturist, and he enjoyed it just as much, if not more, than me. If you're just looking for a fun destination in Toronto, I would think you can't go wrong with Little Canada. In fact, I'm considering going back in the near future and leaving my camera equipment at home so I can just take it all in and enjoy the spectacle. Miniature Landscape Hobbies is your source for miniature, terrain building, and diorama content, and we can't do it without your support. We want to build a community to ensure that the wonderful art of building a miniature is accessible to everybody. To participate, please consider joining on Patreon. For $4 a month, our Patreon members benefit from 10% off at Joe Saunders Terrain in the Etsy store, 5% off paints and hobby supplies at Torchlight Games, free access to STL files, a mention in our credits, and early access to our videos. Please check it out and consider joining. That's it for this episode. I hope you enjoyed watching it as much as I enjoyed making it. Please remember to subscribe, press the bell button so you get immediate notification on our videos, and until next time, remember to keep building life in miniature.